Tonight, a woman lies in a vegetative state at a Tucson hospital. The victim, detectives say, of an illegal and botched liposuction surgery. The man who authorities say did that surgery sits in jail tonight. The News 4 Tucson investigators first broke this story last year. Detectives say Gustavo Nunez and his girlfriend turned co-defendant Hilda Garcia were operating an illegal plastic surgery clinic on Tucson's west side. They were arrested for that more than a year ago. But the News 4 Tucson investigators wanted to know, why was someone who was already facing felony charges allowed to go free to potentially victimize even more people? Nunez and Garcia were first taken into custody last July after the DEA and Tucson police raided this building on North 15th Avenue near Oracle and Drachman. Authorities say the arrest followed a botched surgery inside the building. It sent a young woman to the hospital with serious health complications. But Nunez, who was alleged to have done the surgeries, was allowed to go free, only with a promise to appear at his court hearings. You know, many would wonder how Nunez and Garcia were able to get out on bond in the first place.
Well, when the original alleged crime was committed, they went before a magistrate. The state recommended a $150,000 cash bond. The magistrate decided releasing them on their own recognizance was a better decision, and we obviously disagreed with that, but you have to respect the magistrate's decision. And it turned out to be probably the wrong decision, unfortunately.
And that wasn't all. A Pima County Superior Court judge then modified Nunez's conditions of release numerous times, allowing him to travel to California, Florida, and even out of the country while the case was making its way through the system.
Our judges set conditions of release and or bond or bail amounts for these people under indictment. And it's expected that they follow these conditions of release.
That was until earlier this month. Pima County Sheriff's deputies say Nunez dropped off a woman suffering seizures at Northwest Medical Center. Court documents obtained by the News 4 Tucson investigators reveal the young woman had undergone liposuction at a home on Tucson's northwest side. That prompted authorities to rearrest Nunez and ultimately Garcia. Both are now being held without bond in the Pima County Jail. In addition to two other locations, the News 4 Tucson investigators have uncovered court documents that show that authorities served a search warrant at this house and inside that black Land Rover here on Tucson's south side. Inside the home where detectives say Hilda Garcia was staying, deputies recovered medical files, stethoscopes, massage tables, pills, computers, and medical paperwork. The News 4 Tucson investigators wanted to know, couldn't authorities have kept an eye on Nunez and Garcia before someone else ended up in the hospital?
No, that would be inappropriate for us to follow people around randomly waiting for them to commit another crime or violate their conditions of release. We have a whole lot of other cases to investigate as well.
His travel was a decision made by the judge at Superior Court. And we obviously opposed that in the beginning too, but once the judge makes the decision, there's not much you can do.
A close friend of the woman who was hospitalized following a liposuction procedure that prosecutors say Nunez performed says she's outraged by the fact that he was allowed to go free following last year's allegations.
I got really upset when I heard that. I couldn't believe that he has done it before and he was released. Now that he's done it the second time, we don't know how many victims there's out there that hasn't wanted to come forward. Probably because they're scared, or probably because they don't know what's going on. I just think it's ridiculous that people like this are getting released.
And prosecutors tell the News 4 Tucson investigators, depending on what happens to the woman who's in the hospital, the case could take another turn. As far as charges go, what could happen here eventually?
Well, if anything's to change with her condition, then certainly charges could change at that point, and he could be looking at a lot more serious charges.
And detectives tell the News 4 Tucson investigators they believe there are still a lot of people who were victimized by Nunez. He's also been linked to a former employee at a Tucson pain clinic who's now under indictment after being busted by the DEA. She's now acting as a witness. Investigators are hoping other victims will also come forward with some information. And if you have something you'd like the investigators to check out, send us an email, investigators@KVOA.com, or the tip line 955-4444.